Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is Maple here from the GankinZone team, back at it once again. And today I just want to talk about the Fortnite Metaverse, just go over my thoughts on it, and ask the question, is the Fortnite Metaverse a failure? Is this actually something that Fortnite needs? Is this something that the community really wants? Is this something that they should really continue to go ahead with, although it doesn't look like they're really not going to do that? But I really want to look into that and just kind of dive deep into that today. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Fortnite Metaverse is basically this big project that Epic Games is working on, and it's basically their new way to envision the game. So game modes such as LEGO Fortnite, Festival, and Rocket Racing are all a part of the Metaverse, where basically the game is no longer just the Battle Royale mode. The game is more focused on trying to be a plethora of choices as opposed to just being the Battle Royale. And what they're really trying to do with Fortnite is make it so that Fortnite isn't just a game in and of itself, but Fortnite is really an engine for which you can kind of create your own new games. I mean, we can see people are already creating games in Fortnite that honestly don't even really look like Fortnite. And that's kind of the same way how it is with like Roblox and stuff like that. Now, obviously, creative maps have pretty much always existed, but now we have Unreal Engine for Fortnite, so people are able to do things that are just way crazier than before, way more epic and advanced. It really is completely different. But I would say that the metaverse on the whole has become controversial as of lately because it's really making players think about where Epic's priorities are and whether or not Epic is really taking the feedback of the community at heart, or if they're just steamrolling through with this big change that maybe nobody really wants. And honestly, one of the first things that we can kind of go into in that is player counts. The player counts on all these modes just never come close to the Battle Royale. It's clear that Battle Royale right now is definitely still the main mode of Fortnite, and also Reload as well, since that's a new thing as well. And when you play Rocket Racing or LEGO Fortnite or any of these other game modes, there's a lot less people playing overall. And so sometimes that doesn't matter. Like LEGO Fortnite, you can, easily play more solo. But that is one thing to note, is that if you actually just look at the in-game numbers, these modes are not as popular as just the basic Fortnite modes. And that's not necessarily to say that like, oh, well, those game modes are bad, but it is something to keep in mind. And also, if you are trying to play games and whatnot, and there's a lower amount of people, that might actually make the experience less good overall, because there's less games to get into, stuff like that. Also, a lot of the times people who stick with Rocket Racing tend to be better players. They tend to be people who take it a little more seriously, so that might also make it harder for newer players to get in. There are some issues with that, and overall, I just think it doesn't totally reflect good about the popularity of these game modes when we always see in-game that the numbers are much, much lower than something like just a basic Battle Royale. And that's why a lot of Fortnite fans are upset, and including some myself, where they feel like Epic is just not investing in the Battle Royale as much. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're now missing, like things like live events and stuff like that, which people have been asking to come back for a while. And Epic has kind of put that on the back burner in a lot of ways just to focus on things like the Metaverse. I mean, there was a lot of things that were honestly wrong about Chapter 5 that they could have fixed, but they didn't because they were more focusing on the Metaverse. And also, let's be real, Epic did fire a ton of employees. They let go of a bunch of people. So they are dealing with legitimately a much smaller team than they were even previously, where most of that team was just going straight towards Battle Royale. And now we have all these people working on different projects. So, it kind of has started to show in a way where they aren't really putting as much effort into the Battle Royale anymore. They've kind of almost completely dropped the story in Chapter 5, and among other things that, people are starting to get very resentful of the Metaverse just because that's taking time and resources away from what Epic really probably should be doing, which is just their regular game modes. But of course, there's a lot of advantages to Epic for doing that, and I think that comes into the second problem, which is the monetization issue, where people really think that this is just a big way to get more cash from players. I mean, if you look at the item shop is now filled with a bunch of stuff that is Metaverse related. So whether it's, some kind of like instruments, or if it's cars, or, LEGO Fortnite stuff, there is just a lot of Metaverse stuff now that is in the item shop, and just for whatever reason, it's all expensive. Like, it's not something that I'd even consider worth buying. I mean, I rarely buy skins in just regular Fortnite anyway, but I have, but the V-Buck prices on a lot of this Metaverse stuff is just really high, and I just don't even understand why I would necessarily get that invested into these game modes to even be spending that kind of money anyway. Now, to be fair, when I first started playing early Chapter 5, and I was playing these Metaverse modes, One thing that kind of took away from the experience for me was a lot of the bugs that were actually there. And so while I know that over time that a lot of these have gotten better, one other failure point I would say of the metaverse is that it kind of came out in a sort of broken state where it wasn't entirely refined. It wasn't, I had issues with rocket racing that would just completely break games for me, stuff like that. And I know a lot of other people had that issue as well. So, but the final thing that I want to mention is just how there's a lack of seamless integration from the metaverse and regular, Fortnite. And especially with the new UI changes where everything just looks like Windows 8, you just got everything just plastered on your screen. It's really hard to determine what is an official Epic game mode and what is not. It's just, and honestly, there's new Epic game modes that come out sometimes that I don't even see because it's just lost in a sea of a bunch of crap, right? There should be a better way for me to access all of this and see all of this and be informed about all this, like, honestly, all that. But also, the way that it's in the game, all these different game modes just feel like mini games that, in a lot of ways, probably also could have been community made. And so it's one of those things where, I don't know, it's weird that they're putting so much effort into concepts that aren't the basis of Fortnite. But I also want to make it clear one thing. I have absolutely no problem with them trying new ideas. And I think it is actually really cool. And in fact, I'll be honest here. I've had a lot of fun in rocket racing. And while I've also had some fun in Festival, it's not something I really would go back to that often. And for Lego Fortnite, again, I've had fun there too. I just think it's like, give it some time and they'll have a lot more content in there, and then it may be a lot more worth playing. But honestly, it's not that these game modes aren't fun. It's just that it's disappointing when people want so much from Epic right now for so many different reasons. And a big reason for why we're not going to go back to a lot of the things that the community is asking for is because Fortnite is just Epic Games is trying to take Fortnite in this really weird, like overly corporate direction where, obviously it's just a way to make more money because they want to be a platform for other people to put stuff on their game. They also just want the game to be kind of like an advertisement platform. And, that's just that's what it feels like to me, honestly. This entire thing feels very corporate. And again, I'm not opposed to them putting these modes in here per se. It's just the way that they've done it, the amount of focus that they've done or put into Metaverse, whereas they could have just, done better putting it in other places. That's really what worries me. And I don't know if at this point I trust Epic to take this in the right direction. I also just, I think that they should just focus on the game first and then do anything else on the side. Of course, there's going to be a Disney collab at some point, which is going to have some big Disney World. So the collaborations in this game started off simple. Now they're going to run deep. But we just kind of have to hope that this doesn't mean too much about Fortnite. We have to hope that at the end of the day, there will still be the classic Battle Royale that we like, and we can kind of get away from the Chapter 5 corporate nonsense, and then hopefully Epic Games can either kind of finish their Metaverse stuff or just not prioritize it as much, so that way we can, actually start getting some decent updates again, start getting some storylines, start getting some live events, stuff like that. But anyway, guys, that has been my thoughts on whether or not the Fortnite Metaverse was a failure. I would basically say that it kind of is, because it's definitely not like a big success. I don't think it's like a 100% complete failure, but I would say that on the whole, they probably shouldn't have put as much time and money into this as they had. And if they would have just released this at a much later date and worked at it over basically a slower period of time, that would have probably been better for them. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. And until next time, I'm signing off. Peace out.